Today I want to stand before you because a few months ago I stood before you when I was graduating with my bachelor's, and I gave you a narrative of my life. So I'll not go into that life. But today I want to stand before you because there's a narrative that you people do not know about the political leadership that we are today. I think I was introduced into politics by my mom when we went to Kirigiti Stadium one day. Uncle Ben was vying and we were tear gassed very much. And the next time I came into contact with politics was in 1997 after high school. I was in Meru campaigning for baba ya friend yangu alikuwa anaitwa Deno. We stayed there throughout and we came face to face with the ugly side of politics. And it was in 2002 when we had matured up, me and Akina Timo, and we were excited about voting. So we voted for the first time, and hopes were up, excitements were up. We were very, very excited of the exit of Moi because we were children, or we were toddlers of multipartyism. Tukimaliza class 8, I think ndio multiparty ilikuwa inaingia in Kenya, and so we were kids of multiparty at that time. So we grew up trying to agitate, and in one of the trainings that I think Timo can remember, we were called at SACDEM by an organization called Youth Agenda. They were telling us about the reforms. We had no idea what reforms were, but we agreed with them that reforms were necessary. Vile walikuwa serious hawa watu, we had to have reforms in this country. So we agreed with a guy called Captain Ombati, and Captain Ombati told us how important a constitution is. In fact, alitushtua na Timo alipotaja office of the ombudsman. Hatujawahi sikia kitu kama hiyo before. You can imagine, and we agreed that office must be there. If Ombati is serious about it, why not? So the office of the ombudsman, we kept talking about it, and we had no idea what it was all about until recently when it was created. And then we knew that that is the public defender. But in 2001, 2002, we had no idea what that was. So excited as we were, we jumped into all these reform issues. And it was in 2006 when I joined with a few other guys, young people, all of us were below 35 years, to take up the role of coordinating and campaigning for George Doe, as my friend Perry has informed you. And I was in the strategic team coordinating matters of the youth. That was the first campaign we ever got involved in. It was the first campaign we ever won, because George won. But 2 years later, I got nullified and we went back to election. My second campaign was in 2010, when we decided we shall not campaign for George Doe, but we shall campaign for one of our own. Tukasema tunataka mmoja wetu. We did not manage 1,000 votes, but we went with our heads high, knowing that we had tried, and knowing that another time will come when another one of us will try. In that whole group of 5, 2 already have gone, not died, but have already tried campaigning or capturing the seat of MP. One of them was for Juja constituency, the other one was for Thika town constituency. You guys know him as Morris Mboro. He was in the team that we were strategizing for George Doe. So, to cut the long story short, I am the 3rd member of that initial team of 5. The 3rd member. I am born as the 3rd born in my family. And now, I want to become the 3rd member of parliament for Thika town constituency. So number 3 to me seems like that number that we all need. I'm guided by a few values, and anyone without values, that person necessarily does not need to be around. One of these things are what are outlined here. The issue to do with integrity. We have a leadership in this country that does not value integrity. That integrity is just something that we can be able to exchange whenever we want, or we can be able to forgo whenever we do not want. But integrity really is something that tells you that what you're doing is not just right, but it is the right thing. Because it's doing something right and doing the right thing. So that's what integrity to me is all about. So it guides me on a day-to-day basis. It guides me because without it, I think my universe or my center would not hold. I'm guided also by the second principle there, dignity. To accord everyone the dignity they deserve as human beings. Even if they're your enemies or they're your opponents, you must accord them the dignity that they deserve. I have communicated to my team, and I keep communicating all the time, that we are not in an insulting competition or bad word competition or all manner of things that people want to try. There are those people who thrive in insults and thrive in negativity and negative energy. We are not in that competition. We want to accord everyone the dignity they deserve, even if we will lose. I'm saying even if. We will do so with dignity and respect for every other thing that we will have fought for. We will not lose sight of it. Because my third value is respect. Respect for every other person, irrespective of who they are. I hear people throw a lot of words at times. Some people tell me that I don't seem angry enough or I don't seem tough enough to be in this world of politics. But those people need to know where I grew up. Someone needs to tell them where I grew up. Someone need to tell them where I grew up. Because this is the reformed version of where I grew up. If we are to go there, sitaanza kutoa files zingine hapa, msianze kuuliza kwani huyu ni nani. Na ndivyo shiko amenitambua. Kwani huyu ni nani? So the place where we grew up is that place that we grew up. And we don't need to show that anger because we've been angry before. We don't need to show that frustrations. We've been frustrated before. We don't need to show that kind of toughness. We've been tough before because it required you to be tough to get through. Out of a team of 7 of us young people, I was the only one who went to high school. Out of the entire team, I'm the only one probably standing with the teeth. Wale wengine wote mwoka imewamaliza. Na wengine walipigana meno ikaisha. So I could have been there, but I'm not there. So I'm saying that it is by grace of God that we are here. And it is by grace of God that from those ghettos, today stands someone who wants to lead you and who wants to take this mantle to be able to safeguard everything that we ever believed in as far as Thika is concerned. My last principle is the spirit of service. When I cleared high school, I joined Red Cross, and that has been service to humanity, to community throughout. I don't know my life without doing some service somewhere. Even now, I find myself doing work that I'm not supposed to do. I find myself helping in areas that I'm not even supposed to be helping. And some people from boards that I sit in wonder whether I am a worker or I'm a policy person. But I find myself doing that because it is the natural thing for me to do. Now, that is not about to change. Because moving forward, it is going to shape the kind of person I will become next. In my graduation, I narrated an incident where I was being interviewed and someone asked me if I would go back to my life and would be allowed to change something, what would it be? And I said, I wouldn't want to change anything in my life or in my past. Because if I do that, then the person standing here today would not be exactly the person standing here today, would be different. So I want that to remain there. I want my hardships, I want my ghetto life, I want my everything that I've gone through to remain there so that it can inform me and Carlos of where we came from, me and Carlos of what we fight for, and what we want to achieve in this great constituency and this nation of ours. And this journey does not end here. The focus is bigger, the picture is larger, the vision is stronger, and we are getting there slowly by slowly. I can see it, I can feel it. Martin Luther King said that he's been to the mountaintops. We are there. to the mountaintops. So, even as I thank you for staying here this late, I want to tell you that the journey ahead is not easy. It's not easy because I've campaigned for someone else before. And today, you guys will be in the forefront of campaigning for this guy. In other words, people will know me through you. You will be the brand ambassadors. You'll be the guys explaining to people who Juma Hemedi is all about. Apart from the fact that he speaks 2, 3, 4 or so languages, including Norwegian, which he barely understands what he says, we will be the people explaining a lot of things about Juma Hemedi. So let that picture be the picture that you want to see. Let that person you're talking about be a reflection of the person that you want to sell to the next guy. Because we have challenges in this constituency. These challenges have been solved, some of them, by our current member of parliament. And kwa Kiswahili tunasema mgala muue na haki yake ufanye nini? Kwa hivyo kila mgala tutamuua, lakini tutampa haki yake. Haki ya ule mgala ambaye yuko saa hizi anataka kiti cha governor, haki yake ni kuwa kuna kazi ambayo ameifanya inahusiana na shule. A lot of infrastructure work has been done. That is very good in terms of education. But there are a lot of other things that needs to be done in terms of quality, in terms of motivation, in terms of mentorship, in terms of bringing back the kind of people that went through schools in this constituency. That kind of social network he does not have, but you have, and we have it. Because if you went to school in Thika Muslim, then you knew people who were in Thika Primary, you knew people who were in St. Patrick's, you knew people who were in General Cargo. All of us were in the same area. Alex tried to enjoy some of us, akisema sisi tulikuwa watu wa Kenyatta zone. Thika was divided into zones. Kenyatta zone was the hardcore people. Sisi watu wa Majengo na huko kwingine, hiyo ilikuwa Kenyatta zone. Then there were akina Alex and akina Shiko on the other side of schools. Yeah. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of education, and this work we must be able to get it done, because I don't want to go through every point that is in there, but we need to modernize part of this work. We need to use technology, we need to use digital technology to be able to enhance and to bring back every other person who has gone through these schools. And it can be done. It has been done before. Katumaini Primary School has one of the most vibrant alumni association. They have alumni who are in that school that date back to the 70s, who come to mentor these young people. And that is why Katumaini has been performing every other year in terms of education, every other year in terms of motivation, and in terms of performance of students. Now, why can't it be replicated and done into other schools? It is possible. No, everything is possible. 2, we need to create that mentorship not just in schools, but also to our other young people. Those of us who grew up in Majengo know the kind of challenges that they are facing today in terms of drugs, in terms of hopelessness, in terms of unemployment, and so many other things. But there are solutions to all these problems. These solutions can only be provided by people who can be able to understand the kind of lifestyle and the kind of things that go on in this ghetto to get them done. And that is why we are offering ourselves today for this position. It's not just, as some people would say, for self-actualization. I am not yet in self-actualization. We are still at the point where we are still fighting through so many other things. Now, there is the third thing that has been escaping us all. How do we include everyone in decision making? How do we make sure that the structures in decision making and the structures of accountability are holding us leaders into account? I've said this before and I'll repeat it again. One of the things that I'm going to do within the first few days after we get in is to form a structure called Thika Leadership Caucus. A caucus that is going to be holding me accountable for every other thing that we are doing at the CDF office or at a constituency office. Because we don't have that. Once people elect you, how do they hold you to account? How do they make sure that what you said you'll deliver, you actually deliver? How do you explain to them why you did not deliver? Because we wait until 5 years are over for them to come and say, oh, tulifanya hii, tukafanya hii, tulipeana bursary. You're supposed to give bursary. You can't tell us that you gave bursary. There's no extra brain cells that are used to give bursaries. You have to give bursary. The law says you have to give it at 25%. So you can't tell us that you have done that, and that is the only thing that you can say that should get you elected or should get you re-elected. Exactly what other mile did you take to be able to solve some of these problems and challenges that we have at a social level? So that structure is key. It is key to me because I don't want to be someone who does not account to anyone. I want elders, I want young people to be represented there. I want people who quarterly we would be giving feedback. Biannually we would be giving feedback, telling them that this is what we have done, this is what we have not done, this is why we have not done what we were supposed to do, and this is what we will do moving forward. Because until you create your own structures of holding yourself up to account, then you will not be able to move anywhere. And that's why we have leaders who sometimes think that they are demigods. They cannot explain themselves to anyone. Third is the issue, or fourth is the issue of infrastructure. And I feel what Grace is saying. Go to Como, you will realize that those people feel that they are not part and parcel of this country. Even though Como primary school only has about 500 or 600 registered voters, but they are Kenyans too. They too want to feel the kind of things that people in hospital ward are feeling. They too want to feel the kind of development that township ward is having. They too want water that is to be supplied to every other part of this constituency. So what do we do about them? Do we just rush and say, or do we take steps to make sure that they're included in the infrastructure that is supposed to be developed? And I'm happy that there's a road that is linking Monyo exiting in Kangoki now. Many years ago, I lived in Norway, and while living in Norway, I came across a word called cottage industry. Cottage industry is a word that had been introduced by Kibaki when he came into power in 2002. Cottage industry are businesses that can be started at home. Small manufacturing and production, packaging and value addition that can be started from home, from the comfort of your house, and distributed or made into a bigger business. Every big business you see today started as a cottage industry. The makers of Dell computer, the makers of Facebook, the makers of HP, every one of their story, if you followed it, it started in a garage somewhere. It started in some small room somewhere. That's what cottage industry is all about. Today, these businesses, including Amazon, are bigger because of where they started. And this is where we need to encourage young people to move so that we can be able to reduce issues to do with unemployment and issues to do with hopelessness and issues to do with so many other things. I am very happy COVID came. Even though we lost a few Kenyans, but COVID taught us the art of working from home. And it taught us being industrious. In fact, it reinforced the very word of cottage industry into something else. People started making sanitizers, they started making soaps, they started making all manner of things to get by. But they were doing so for survival. But we can do so as an enterprise and as an industry by its own. We don't have to find, I get a lot of requests from young people. Nitafutie a job, niorganizie sijui wapi, get me this, get me that. And everyone is looking for a place where they are going to just sit and get paid at the end of the month. I mean, those people in the Juakari, you know what it takes to strive to get that customer. You know what it takes to maintain that customer. You know what it takes to do certain kinds of things. We need to encourage these things to the young people or to our fellow young people. And this cannot be done by any other person that does not understand what it is like to be young. I have spoken about this statement. When you agree to import leadership, you have agreed to export two things. One is opportunities, the other one is resources. And this, without naming anyone, I am going to tell you point blank that between the year 2013 to 2017, you exported opportunities, you exported resources. Because every class that was being built in your school what you would get is a class. What you didn't know is where these raw materials would come from outside of your constituency. Meaning, someone outside would make a business out of what ought to have been taken to a quarry, like is pale kwa Kiboko, the other quarries in Monyo. There are a lot of quarries here. Why don't we buy stones from here? Why should they be bought from elsewhere? Why shouldn't we buy cement from our own sellers here? Why should we buy it from elsewhere? So you are exporting resources, but you're also exporting opportunities. Because whenever you are asked to bring 10, 20 young people into the military or into the police, where else would they be going to get these people? You know, that is what now localizing leadership is all about. It is what we must be able to do. It is what we must concentrate on if we are to get anywhere moving forward. And I'm not saying I'm the best candidate there is in this race, but I'm better than every other one that has so far presented themselves. I have gauged myself. I have looked at the capacity that I hold. I have asked myself all those critical questions. I have fought with those thoughts in my mind. And they have led me to only one place. That this seat of Thika Town constituency, we are going to capture it this year, 9th of August, 2022. And I have no doubt in my mind, from Goliba to Maryhill, from Biafra to Vincentia, that we will rise, and we must rise. We have no option. This is not just a fight for us, it is a fight for our children, it is a fight for our future. It is a fight for the future of these children that we want to inspire Carlos, that next time we want one of them to come and take over the MCA once you are through. And I have no business, I will repeat this, coming back to you in 2027 to ask you to give me a second chance to become your MP. I have no business. And even if you will want me to be, I will simply say no. Because I don't believe that I'm the only one who can be able to lead. I don't believe I'm the only one who's created with a vision. I know there are other people that will be coming up. Ciao. I know there are other people that will be coming up next. So let's give those people an opportunity to serve your one term, do the best you can. That's why I don't have more than 5 agendas. Each agenda will take a year. I work very slowly, so I have to be sure that imeisha hiyo. So next, let Carlos come in and fit in and say, I want to be MP, na mimi nimwambie chukua, my brother. Na wewe wachie ule mwingine pale nyuma, na yeye pia achukue. Tuende tukiachiana hivyo tukiendaga, kwani kazi ni moja tu pekee. So anyone coming to ask you for a second chance, it means those people failed in the first chance. And I have no intention of failing. I'll leave you with 2 things. First, the book of Exodus 18:21. That tells you the kind of leaders that you must elect. Find leaders that are amongst you. 1. That person must be from amongst you. Ndio maana kwa chama ya mama, Lilian akiwa kwa ile chama yao, hawezi wakanipatia mimi kiti ya chairman. Hata kama mimi ni mtu mzuri aje na mimi ni mtu mzuri. Hata kama mimi ni mpole namna gani, Lilian hawezi wakanipatia kiti ya share ama kiti ya treasurer. Why? It's because I'm not one of you. So I must be a member of the chama for me to qualify. Why do we bring members who are not members of your own localities to lead you? The Bible tells you, among you. Secondly, capable. We also have people who are amongst us and we know they are not capable. You know the capability is not up to standards. Those are not the people you are told to elect, but you are told to find capable people. The third quality of those leaders is God-fearing. There are people who tell you that they fear God, yet they steal from you. There are people who will sing Hosanna in churches and pray in the mosque, and we know them. But yet, they will eat money meant for classroom, for schools, bursary for children, and the rest of the things. I don't need to tell you, you have been here long enough and you've been alive long enough to see that. So they say they are God-fearing, but in their God-fearing, they steal from you. Fourth quality, that these people must be trustworthy. You can trust that person. Ukimpatia 1,000 ataifikisha ikiwa 1,000, hata ifikisha ikiwa 9, so asemeti so moja ilikuwa ni fair, atafikisha. ikiwa 900, ama hata kuitisha umuongezea na za kutoa ama za macho, atafikisha ikiwa 1000. Trustworthy. And the last thing that quality is that you need to find guys that are non-corrupt. Corruption has killed this country. We have been told we lose 2 billion shillings every year. All these things we've been told. But we've also been told that we lose about 700 billion shillings every year to corruption. What can 700 billion shillings do? So much. 2 railways from Mombasa to Nairobi, over and over again. Many super highways that are Thika. And all this is because sometimes we become very, very greedy. Or we become very, very greedy. Because there is no other option. Those are the only 2 options. But in the book of Matthew, you are told, be, acha niseme na Kiswahili, mujitahadhari na manabii wa nini? Wa uongo. Mutahadhari na manabii wa uongo. Hao ni wale watu ambao wanawajieni nyinyi wakiwa wamevalia ngozi ya kondoo. Na ndani ni na hatujatukana na mtu. Si ni Bible imeandika? Ndio. Wamevalia ngozi ya kondoo na ndani ni mbwa mwitu, wale wakali. Hao kitabu cha Bible kinawaambia hao tutawajua. Kwa nini? Kwa matendo yao. We will know them by their actions. It is not just by their words, it's also by their deeds. Check every deed of every person that you want to elect. Question, interrogate, and do all those. I know people asking you people, Juma Hemedi yuko shama ni gani? Shama ni gani? Let me say something before I talk about the party. Let us resist this temptation of being put into that corner and into that corner, because we lose qualities of leadership that we need to be interrogating when we are branded one or we are branded the other. And we'd rather ask ourselves, who is this person coming with this vehicle? Who is this person coming with this vehicle? Is he hiding or is she hiding under someone's colors so that we do not unmask and ask questions about these people? We need to ask ourselves those questions. So you should not have any problem with whichever party. Should I decide to be in any party? As of now, I am not in any party. As of now, I have no intention to be in any party. As of now, I'm interrogating every other party to see whether the values and the ideals align with the values and ideals that we hold. And it's not just me, it is you. This election is not about me, it's about us. If it is about Juma Hemedi, probably I would not be here by now. But it is about all of us and what we can be able to achieve out of it. So far, 70 to 80% indication are that Juma Hemedi will run as an independent. Thank you. So far. And the last day to belong to any political party is on 26th of this month, which is next week. So if by now sina chama, chances are naweza kuwa sina chama. Chama ni sisi. Chama ni sisi. I asked an opinion poll from all over to tell me what political party I should run with. 70, where is governor? 70% of the respondents indicated that we should run as independent. However, I'm saying, when that time comes, it does not matter, because what matters is the candidate that will be in that political party. Thank you very much, people. God bless you.